How's it going, guys? We're back and we're doing this. Today what we're going to be talking about is my weight loss journey. Over the last 5 to 6 weeks now, I've been making efforts to lose weight in an attempt to look more athletic, lean, trim, whatever word you want to use. So what I thought would be handy for some people would be to share my tips, my tricks, my secrets with regards to losing weight and answering some of the questions that I would have asked 6 weeks ago, and some of the questions that provide answers that you might find useful when trying to lose weight and look, again, a little bit more athletic. So without further ado, these are my most frequent questions with the best answers I have for them at this given time. So question number one, how much weight did I lose? Over the course of 4 weeks, I lost just over 14 pounds. It was closer to 15 pounds, which equated to 1 stone. So 1 stone in 4 weeks. Second question, what is my best advice for weight loss? Firstly, get the basics right. What you want to recognize is your calorie balance, okay? So that's looking at how many calories you consume versus how many calories you expend over a given day or over a given week. What you want to be in is known as a calorie deficit. That's a state in which you are spending more calories than you're consuming. Therefore, your body's not getting as many calories as it would need to sustain your current weight. Easiest way to find this out is to Google Harris-Benedict equation. That'll tell you what your basal metabolic rate is. That's how many calories your body needs just to sustain its life processes. So if I was to chill out in my bed for the next 24 hours, I would need X amount of calories just to stay alive, living, breathing, digesting. And then with that, you'll also get your daily activity level needs, or your total daily energy expenditure, your TDEE. And with that then, I would shave off a couple of hundred calories depending on what your TDEE is. Now, in order to hit the deficit, you can do one of three things. You can eat less, you can move more, you can do both of the same. In part to that question then, I'd also recommend trying to make baby steps or incremental differences to your life, okay? Don't make massive leaps forward, because more often than not, they're not sustainable and you'll fall off the wagon. So come Monday, don't reinvent yourself at the start of the week. Just try something slightly different, be that walking to your place of work, changing the side that you have with your lunch at work, or just taking your dog for an extra walk in the evening. Small and slight changes are the ones that you can keep up and the ones that you can make habitual over time. And then lastly, to answer that question, I'd find something that you enjoy doing. Find an exercise or find some sort of outlet that you do actually enjoy doing and it is going to contribute towards your weight loss. For me, what I've done recently is I've started to run a little bit more, so I'm doing 5k circuits 3 times a week. Not difficult to do at all, and it means that I'm ramping up my energy expenditure over the course of the week. Third question then, and one that was very, very popular, was how much protein do you require? When cutting, you want to try and preserve as much lean muscle tissue as possible, so you sort of want to ramp up your protein intake. So for me, I was consuming between 1.6 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Okay, so at the start of my cut, I was almost 100 kilos. I was around 96 kilograms. So let's just say I was 100. I'd be consuming between 160 grams of protein per day, all the way up to 200 grams. There's one day I think I hit 240 grams just because I was consuming a lot of meat that day. What I would say is keep your protein levels relatively high and then let your carbohydrates and fats work out themselves. I think really anything over 2 grams per kilogram of body weight is pretty much excessive, and it's more than likely going to be excreted as waste. Next question, pretty open-ended one. Why cut? What I knew myself is that I was carrying excess body weight. There's a lot of weight on myself that wasn't being put to use, and I think that really comes from all the years I spent playing rugby. In rugby, there's plenty of collisions, and of course physics dictates that the heavier man is going to have a slight advantage over someone that is smaller and not as heavy, certainly in a contact situation. Now that I've moved away from rugby, obviously I don't need to consider my weight as much as I needed to before. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to be lighter. I wanted to look a little bit more athletic. I sort of wanted to achieve or shoot towards, I don't know, a physique that looks like someone that's just come out of prison, someone that's had regimented meals, regimented sleep, has been working out in the yard, and just looks like they can fight. I don't know. I wanted to look leaner. I wanted to look trim. I wanted to be able to just whip my top off and look like a bit of a wanker if I ever went to the beach. What was a typical day of eating? For breakfast, I'd usually start off with bagels and eggs. Feeling that, I'd have just a bowl of Weetabix. Second then, if we call it lunch, we'd go for turkey burgers with bagels or turkey burgers with salad. I ended up loving salad because you could just have bags and bags of salad and accrue next to no calories. So that was an easy way to fill up without, using your calories. Dinner then would usually involve a rice-based dish or a potato-based dish with a meat, which would either be chicken or steak. And then my post-workout meal, depending on when my workout was, it again would usually be a rice-based dish, and I'd often have again chicken, steak or turkey burgers. I'm quite a boring eater, and the only thing that was different about my meals was the meat used or the sauce used. My thoughts on meal prepping. For me, Absolutely not. I could think of nothing worse than on a Sunday night or whatever, sitting down for, an hour to 3 hours and making all of my meals for the week. That sort of, yeah, I don't know, it would feel like labour more than anything else. I sort of like cooking. I'm not going to say I'm a great cook, but I'm not a bad cook. And I sort of like improvising, just bang, bang, bang. I've got this, I've got that, let's make X, Y, and Z. The idea of sitting down and having everything done a week in advance just kind of makes me, yeah, it's not nice. What would be a typical gym session? I would usually start on either the Stairmaster, so that's that hamster's wheel, it's that never-ending staircase. I'd go on that for maybe 10 minutes. And I'd do 1 or 2 isolations, 2 compounds back to back. Thereafter then I would go on to my isolations. That would usually be 3 isolation movements or single joint movements. And then to finish things off in terms of working against the resistance, I would do a circuit at the end. So that was very high intensity interval training-esque. I would have, say, 3 exercises, perform them back to back to back, and then take my due rest, be it 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and then hit it again. Just to keep up, I suppose, my sort of conditioning. One thing I hate and sort of strayed away from as much as I could was bodybuilding styled training. So, you're doing your chest press, your bench press, okay, slow and controlled, bang, bang, bang. You rest for 60 seconds to 2 minutes, go back into that slow and controlled fashion. I got really sick and tired of that. So I try to do a little bit of conditioning or HIIT at the end of my sessions just to kind of spice things up, keep the heart going, and keep me fit and moving. After that, and to round the session off, I'd do 5 to 10 minutes cool down, usually again done on the ergo. So I'd try and do maybe 500 meters in 2 minutes, 1,000 meters in 4.5 minutes. And in terms of mobility, not a big advocate of it. I'd stretch where and when I needed to. I know that that mobility, that flexibility side of things is very, very, very popular now. It's very trendy. I myself, I will hopefully become an advocate of it. I just don't know enough about it. And I just didn't do that much of it, so I can't speak volumes on it just yet. How many training sessions did I undertake per week? Long story short, 4 sessions per week. I would work push-pull, push-pull. I think the easiest way to imagine it would be working the front of your body one day, the back of your body the next, front, back, and so on. It would usually be Monday front, Tuesday back, Wednesday rest, Thursday front, Friday back, Saturday, Sunday rest. Hardest part of cutting, I think the hardest part is not beating yourself up about it. A lot of people want results overnight, and I certainly was one of those people. I sort of expected them because I'd put in very, very hard gym sessions and look at myself the next day and say, shit, I look exactly the same. That would happen maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, and I didn't get instantaneous results. That's one thing you've got to be wary of. You have to be patient, and you've got to recognize that your body is going to change. Over time, it will adapt eventually. Second thing that I find really, really difficult, finding out what works for your body, and what your favorite YouTubers do, what your favorite people on Instagram do, might not necessarily work wonders for you. It could very well do. There's a lot of people that post great stuff, great content that's applicable for the general population. But for me, and I'm sure for yourself, you'll find that you'll do exercises and you won't get the same kick out of it as your mate does, as your sister does, as your brother does, your aunt, your uncle. People work differently, so trying to find out and trying to tune your body to, I suppose, what it reacts best to, that takes time. And again, it's something that I'm still coming to grips with. I've been training for several years. I'm still finding out that, some exercises don't work quite as well for me on certain days as they would for yourself. So just getting to grips with how your body reacts to different things, including both nutrition, diet, sleep, rest, and so on. Next question, how to maintain strength. A question I wish I could fucking answer well, because my strength has it's dipped marginally. Pound for pound, I'm certainly stronger now than what I was when I started. What I ended up doing by default was working within sort of like a strength threshold. As time went on, I sort of felt ill thinking about doing 12 reps of any movement, never mind my compound lifts. So I ended up going for rep ranges of 3 to 8, just because that's all I could really stomach and be arsed with. So that's how I maintained strength. I worked within those strength thresholds. So I was pulling heavy for a less amount of reps, and I just did that for the last, I think, 2 weeks of the 6 weeks that I was cutting. As well as that then, and going back to one of the first questions we answered, ramp up your protein intake, make sure that you're preserving all of your lean muscle tissue, and also make sure that you're getting due rest. I would be benching, overhead pressing, deadlifting, and squatting. All of those movements, I'd be doing them really twice a week, and I'd be having 3 days or 4 day intermission between each bench session, between each deadlift session, between each, overhead press session. My body was getting plenty of rest before going at it again. Short answer again, no. I have tried different supplements over time, but my supplement experience is lacking. Some supplements I have are whey protein. This bag's unopened. It's I think it's out of date. I just didn't need them. I got all my nutrition from Whole Foods. I was going to use creatine, but again, could not be arsed. Didn't really want to bloat. Wanted to look nice, tight and lean. Pre-workout wise, again, I was tempted because at times I was absolutely knackered and exhausted going into sessions, but a lot of my sessions just ended up being fueled by caffeine from black coffee, and that was more than enough for me. In terms of supplements, there's not a thing wrong with them, and they are just expensive, and I would look at them as a convenience item. If you're not getting the macros that you need, or you're not getting micronutrients that you need, then certainly buy them. But if you are able to get those from Whole Foods, then don't waste your money. There is simply no point, and I would much rather have a meal as opposed to drinking powdered liquid or liquid powder that have been made into, you know what I mean. I'd much rather have food than a protein shake. Bulking or cutting, what would I rather? Again, it's one of those ones, it's like a forbidden fruit effect. While I'm bulking, I want to look lean as shit. I always think, wouldn't it be so nice if I could walk down the beach and not look like a middle-aged chimpanzee? Conversely then, when I'm cutting, I always think, wouldn't it be so nice if I could fill out my tops a bit better? I had t-shirt muscles and look like a strong breeze wouldn't blow me over. So you can never really win. I think if I had to pick one though, here and now, I would cut indefinitely, or try and maintain the physique I've got at the moment, because I think it just does look a lot better. I think when you're bulking, or for me anyway, I look very sloppy and dirty. This fungus that I'm growing on my face certainly doesn't help my cause, but yeah, I would rather be lean and trim than bulked up, I think. Fasted exercises and intermittent fasting, you know what? I sort of am enjoying doing my fasted workouts, only in the morning, obviously. What I'll do is I'll eat a large meal at night. That'll see me through, obviously, because I'm sleeping. I'm not doing any work whilst I'm asleep. And then I'll try and wake up early and go to the gym early. And what I'll find is I'll be nice and light on my feet. I won't have really any pressure built up, where things would usually be digesting if I just had a large breakfast. And I feel nice, light, agile. There's not that gastrointestinal pain there. And I just feel like I can hit sessions pretty hard and keep up, I suppose, the vigor and the intensity levels of sessions now. Certainly for my first few sessions, I was very, very much against doing them fasted, because I felt that, I suppose, my performance was being capped or compromised, and I don't know if that was some sort of placebo effect. I just assumed I've got less in my belly, I'm going to perform to a lower standard. But certainly now I'm getting used to running on empty, and yeah, I would recommend it, because it means that you get to look forward to a meal, a larger meal. Certainly after your workout, you've got more calories, I suppose, left over, and yeah, I would recommend trying it. Certainly, again, it's not going to work for everyone, but for me, it's working pretty well at the moment. Did I have meat with every meal? No fucking way, I did not. And I think you can have too much of a good thing. Meat is a great thing. If you're vegan for ethical reasons, more power to you. I do appreciate the vegans out there that are doing it for ethical reasons. But yeah, I didn't have meat with every meal, and yeah, I would have heart disease if I did. Really good question. How did I stay motivated? Having this aspect of my life on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, or whatever, sort of the fitness, health, lifestyle stuff, that sort of held me accountable, because I said, I'm going to lose weight, and if I didn't lose weight, I would look like a massive dick. So that is one reason why I was able to maintain motivation. Second to that then, encouragement from others. I wouldn't say immerse yourself with people that are going to just be, yes men or yes women, and they're going to say, you look great when you look like shit. Get people that are honest and will tell you what they think of X, Y, and Z parts about yourself. Certainly for me, Chris was very, very supportive. She would tell me if I looked good, if I looked bad, and I thought that her compliments were another reason to keep, I suppose, my foot in the gas. Also, I'd recommend taking progress photos. With progress photos, a lot of people think, fuck, I've got to post these, I've got to let people know what I look like. You certainly don't. It just gives you a visual idea of what you look like to others and how others actually visually perceive you, because that's what a lot of us are training for, to impress others, which is a very, very sad and shallow thing, but it's just the honest truth. And if you're to deny that a lot of the population don't think like that, you're crazy. As well as that then, I'll be tracking things. So tracking what you're lifting. If you want to track your weight, track body measurements, so take circumference readings of your arms, your bust, your waist, your thighs, your butt, those sorts of things. So you've got maybe numerical or statistical data that you can look back on. I myself love looking back on numbers, so that again was insightful for me. And what else? I suppose thinking outside the box, buy clothes. One thing that I do and get a kick out of is buying clothes that I like to fill out or look better in. And I think if you buy nice gym clothes, you're going to be more obliged to train. Obviously financially you're more invested because you've spent money on yourself, and you can only use, your favorite ASICS trainers on the treadmill now. Or perhaps you've got a new vest top and you want to show all the girls in your kettlebells classes how well you look in it. So yeah, treat yourself to a little bit of gym wear, get good wear out of it, and that's just something I do. It sounds very, very weird saying that, but it works for me. Lastly then, for staying motivated, set a goal. Set one that's realistic, set one that you've got to hit in an allocated time, or maybe even choose a date. So say you're getting ready for a wedding, a holiday, communion, I don't know. Just set something, time yourself, and hit your goal on time. Set the goal, smash it. Next question, would I ever compete? Fuck no. At this moment in time, I could think of nothing worse. I'm not that committed to it, and I sort of like having the balance, being able to do what I want when I want, and I think you've got to have blinkers on, tunnel vision for that sort of thing, and I know a lot of people that have done it, certainly even people training for photo shoots, and at times they seem miserable. I would rather be happy throughout. Obviously these people are looking in, serious nick, but I personally don't find those sorts of physiques attractive, appealing, and I don't think it would be worth it. Looking great on stage for a couple of minutes of my life, no. I wouldn't have the dedication, nor would I want to look like that. That's my answer. Next question, did I drink during the cut? No, I did not. I think I had 3 beers over the course of 4 weeks, and that is a typical month for me. I do not drink very much at all, and that's why my friends don't invite me out very often, but we will not go there. Let's move on. Cheat meals. Don't like that term, but yeah, I suppose I had pizzas, burgers, chips, Halo ice cream. Not really a cheat meal because it's so low in calories, but I had unhealthy foods, as some people will call them. I had foods that, I wouldn't necessarily say are Instagrammable. So yeah, I ate like a pig at times, but I just accounted for that and made sure that my calories were not necessarily bang on, but just coming close to what I wanted them to be at. Last question, what apps did I use? I used 4 main apps. I used Renpho. That's the one that a lot of people ask me about. It's the one that's paired with my scales, and that showed me certain body measurements that you wouldn't get with a lot of scales. How accurate they were, questionable at times. I really, really doubted the body fat percentage. I think that was a little bit higher than what it should have been, certainly towards the end of my cutting phase. Second to that then, and probably the one that I used most, certainly during the first week, was MyFitnessPal. That just gave me insight as to what different foods contained, and it's something I'd recommend that everyone downloads here and now because it's free and it's excellent. Thirdly then, Instagram. Use that for accountability and to post my general shit that I do. If you don't follow me already, there's my handle. And lastly then, notes. I used a notepad on my iPhone and then my Samsung when I changed to that, just to log what I was lifting in the gym, as well as how I was feeling. For a lot of people, you're going to log obviously weights, body measurements, blah blah blah, but note how you feel, because if you feel miserable, you've got to change something. I swear by this that you should be enjoying your training. Of course there's going to be times where you've got to push yourself, it'll be difficult, but if you're not enjoying it, you're doing it wrong. And yeah, that is the end of the Q&A. If you find any of it useful, let me know. If there's any questions that you've got outstanding, again, let me know using any of these. And yeah, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Stay clinical, and good luck with whichever direction you're going in.